I think I either just made the biggest mistake of my life, or I just set everything in motion for the life I've always wanted. And honestly, I don't know which one is more terrifying. Because at some point, when you stay in this sport long enough, you stop believing in fairy tales. You realize that good horses don't just appear. You don't simply buy the horse of your dreams. You actually make them. And that sounds very romantic until you realize that making a horse also means making mistakes, losing confidence, and sometimes questioning whether you are actually built for this at all. When you are young, especially in this industry, you think you are invincible. You think that won't happen to me. I know how to handle situations and I'm careful. And that illusion lasts exactly until the moment a horse bites you, kicks you, or you wake up in an emergency room with a doctor casually telling you that it will be a miracle if you walk again. That's usually when the fantasy dies. For me, the order was a bit different, but the lesson arrived anyway. I have to say that actually I realized I'm afraid of horses, which is not ideal, especially if your job is literally to start them. And surprisingly, people don't like hearing that, because horse trainers are supposed to be fearless, brave, confident, but when you work with difficult and aggressive horses, there are moments when your entire life flashes in front of your eyes. Like the day one horse from the herd decided that I wasn't particularly likable and almost kicked me in the head. That was only one from the many moments I understood something very clearly. Horses are not cute. They are powerful, they are unpredictable, and they can absolutely destroy you if things go wrong. Ironically, I always had good experiences with stallions, but this industry introduces you to many people and many situations. And after one specific incident, I made a promise to myself: I will never own a stallion. Ever. No exceptions, no emotional decisions, no, but this one is different. And then, somewhere in the middle of my insecurity and fear, I met Valeo. Valeo is a 1.5-year-old colt. He is a stallion with good bloodlines. And for the first time in my life, I met a young horse where the list of good memories was longer than the list that starts with, if you do this, he'll probably kick you. And if not, he'll personally show you the fastest way to hell. But Valeo was different. He was not supposed to be for sale. Actually, on the first day, when I actually saw him, I said that I wouldn't work with him even if they paid me. And yet for some reason I actually asked if they would sell him. There's a saying that fits perfectly here. If you don't have problems, you create them. And to my surprise, the owners said yes. And that's how our story started. The original plan was simple. Buy a horse, okay, actually 2 foals, expected in May. Everything was calculated, reasonable, not really safe, but this is not that kind of industry. And still, there I was, contract in my hand, about to start something completely new. Maybe it was impulse, or maybe it was fate, or maybe I just don't learn from my mistakes. But none of my horses ever came into my life because I pointed at them and said, that one. I've always dreamed of that horse. So at this point, I wasn't even surprised anymore. Valeo is special to me. Not because he's my first foal, but because he represents everything I didn't want. He has great jumping bloodlines and, on paper, has a bright future in show jumping. He will be insanely tall, and I'm definitely a pony person. And he's a stallion. And I want to keep him a stallion. Literally the opposite of my plans. And yet, here we are. And the most important thing, he's the first horse where the quote-unquote fixing starts with me. After having many traumatized horses, I had to realize that in the meantime, I also became traumatized. I had as much or sometimes even more fear than the terrified horses I got to work with. And I felt like I betrayed my horses. Actually, all of them. I didn't trust them anymore, but they didn't even give me a reason to not trust them. So, with this little boy, I realized he's not traumatized. He has opinions, yes, but will not try to actively put me 6 feet under. So, standing at the beginning of something new with an incredibly intelligent young horse, working with him is actually really enjoyable, which scares me a little bit because he's actually really smart and I'm afraid that he will be smarter sometimes than me. And I also know that there will be challenges. Fear doesn't just disappear, but maybe courage isn't the absence of fear. Maybe it's choosing to move forward anyway, even when you are afraid. So, did I make the biggest mistake of my life, or did I finally stop playing safe? I honestly don't know yet. But this is the beginning, and if you are still here, then you are a part of it now, too.